ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you our singing star, Miss Kitty Reed.
Hello world, this is Miss Kitty Reed. Kathleen and I are here to discuss Jenny's Choice, the third and final book of the Apple Creek Dreams series. It was published in 2015 by the author's own P&J Publishing. Jenny Hirschberger's husband Jonathan converted to the Amish after falling in love with her and the Amish lifestyle. He receives a letter from his mother telling him to see his father as he is nearing death. Jonathan wants to go and hopes to encourage his father to become a Christian, but Jenny has a feeling he should not. Jonathan goes anyway and joins his parents on a surprise trip on their yacht. A combination of mechanical failures and bad weather causes an explosion and sinking of the ship. Jonathan is thrown overboard and hit by a mast. The love of Jenny's life is dead. She is consumed by grief in the house they shared, so she and her young daughter Rachel move back with her parents, Reuben and Jerusha Springer. As Jenny tries to find hope again, she starts writing. She joins a creative writing class at the library and meets Jeremy King, a publisher who wants submissions for Amish books. Jenny submits a proposal for a book about her parents' lives. Jeremy becomes her editor, and they spend a lot of time together working on the book as they both start to fall for each other. The Amish church leadership are initially hesitant to approve Jenny's publishing a book, but agree. However, a visiting bishop from Lancaster, Samuel Lapp, is opposed and is very harsh with Jenny. Samuel Lapp is much more strict and does not like Jenny's family, thinking them too independently minded and liberal. Jenny learns Jeremy was Amish and was shunned in Samuel Lapp's church district. Jeremy tells her Samuel Lapp brought false charges against him so he could take his girlfriend. Jeremy refuses to become Amish again because this would mean admitting to the false charges. Samuel Lapp finds Jeremy and Jenny together and yells at them. When he grabs Jenny's arm, she slaps him. He punches her in the face. Later, at a meeting of the elders at Jenny's house, Samuel Lapp's deception is revealed. On his way back to Lancaster, he is in a buggy accident and escapes. Reuben helps the driver get out of the buggy, which is on the train tracks, but Samuel Lapp hits him on the back of the head by a wooden board and he is thrown into the thrashing buggy horse. Jerusha runs to him, but they are both hit by a train. They are taken to the hospital and die after a few days. Jenny mourns her parents and eventually moves back to the house she shared with Jonathan, along with her father's English friend Bobby Halverson, who is like her uncle. Jeremy asks Jenny to marry her, but she refuses. Jeremy is involved in a business deal with musician Richard Sandbridge, who after writing hit songs is now involved with a Christian record label that wants to merge with Jeremy's publishing company. Jeremy asks Jenny to a celebration of the merger and wants to know if she will ever marry him, given that she still has feelings for him but will not leave the Amish. He wants to know her answer by the celebration. The Amish church leaders want Jenny to marry again and set her up with a widow, but she tells him she needs a few days to decide. Jenny wears an English dress to the celebration where Jeremy takes her. Richard Sandbridge is there and plays music, including a song Jonathan wrote for Jenny. Richard Sandbridge is really Jonathan, who lost his memory in the boat accident. He retained his musical ability and became a professional and somewhat famous musician. When Jenny comes up to him, he recognizes her and remembers his past as they joyfully reunite. Many years later, Jenny, now an old woman, invites an author to her house. Jonathan has died after happy years together. Jenny's house is filled with books, or rather manuscripts. She gives her work to the author, telling him to rewrite it in his own words, but keep true to the story she wants to give the world. The end. I really wanted to give this book a 1 out of 7. I wish I could, but I guess I have to be objective. This book really put itself in one territory when Jonathan was actually alive after 8 years, and he and Jenny looked into each other's eyes, and he remembered. Ugh. I wondered why, about 3/4 of the way through, we were being introduced to this Richard Sandbridge character I cared nothing about. This weirdo scene at the party is supposed to justify Jenny's lack of commitment to Jeremy for such a long time. There was no reason for Jenny to think Jonathan was alive, so unless we are looking back at the book knowing the ending, we see Jenny's behavior as being very unfair to Jeremy. Look, Jenny, if you just want to be an Amish widow and can't get over Jonathan, that's fine, but tell Jeremy that. That's your choice, or maybe it isn't, because the Amish elders find themselves entitled to tell you who to get married to. Jenny, that alone should be your sign you don't need to be Amish anymore. You are not a little girl who can be told what guy to be with. Jenny is just so independent and is being stifled as a gifted writer, yet she is still stuck on being Amish, partly because her biological mother was. Sometimes Amish books have the weirdest take on nature versus nurture. Look, being Amish is not something passed down in the genetic code. Jenny is half-rich New Yorker, but I don't see her running off to Wall Street. Why did Reuben and Jerusha have to die like that? We have followed these characters for so long, through every obstacle, only to be killed by a corrupt bishop in a train in the middle of the book. There wasn't even the decency to have their deaths serve any purpose to the plot. They could have just mentioned at the end of the book that Reuben and Jerusha lived to a ripe old age and died. What was the point of killing them off, especially like that? I just couldn't get into this book. It was very slow in between the major plot points. There was no point in Jenny having a daughter because Rachel did nothing and added nothing, and I often forgot she existed. As an aside, I would like to point out that mentioned throughout the series and on this book's cover, Jenny's eyes are purple. I didn't at first take it literally when it said she had violet eyes, but I guess that was really the author's intent. As much as all this made me want to, I didn't hate the whole book. I enjoyed the concept of Jenny having written or inspired the book series. Looking back at the book as if Jenny had written it was pretty cool. Of course, I love the familial love between Reuben, Jerusha, and Jenny. I like the idea of a forbidden romance between Jeremy and Jenny. Take note, this is the third book series I have reviewed where an Amish girl finds out the love of her life is not really dead when another man is ready to take his place. The series that starts with The Shunning by Beverly Lewis has this, as does the Discovery series by Wanda Brunstetter, which starts with Goodbye to Yesterday. I liked how the Discovery approached this issue much more, as it also has the man presumed dead have amnesia. We follow both the husband's and wife's perspectives, and we know he is really alive, whereas here in Jenny's Choice we have no idea Jonathan is alive until Richard Sandbridge starts to remember little details of his past. I will give this book a 4 out of 7. I think some people will really love it. I just don't. This series is a lot, and some people really love that. These books are highly dependent on your personal preferences. Our next book will be Pine Creek Courtship by Amity Hope. Please check with your local library to see if they have it on the shelves. If not, check into getting it through interlibrary loan. This has been Amish Book Club. Happy St. Patrick's Day from Kathleen and Miss Kitty Reed.
Living in the rhythm that I'm speaking of. You'll be happy in your work if you're in love.